Hello. Hello, 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 my darlings. Hello, 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 hello. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning, Scott, if you're still here. Good morning, starshine. There's Neil. Good morning. How are you doing? Well, this must mean you're feeling a little bit better, Neil, because you're here first again. When you're sick, you don't tend to always get here first, although you certainly try. And so I just want to acknowledge that I hope this means you're feeling a little bit better, on the mend. Good morning, meowing star. How are you? You're late. Hi, Jane. Just kidding. Hi, Badge. Boop, boop, Badger, Badger, Badger. One of my OG friends. I've been friends with Badger. Badger, have we been friends since like 2021? Like when I seriously got on Twitter? I think we have. I think we've been friends since then. I don't remember, but I think so. In fact, I know so. Right? Yeah, yeah. I know. We've been together because da 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 da. Oh yeah, you didn't know if I was starting early. Oh, I'm sorry about that. That's my bad. I shouldn't do that. But it's really nice to see everyone. I hope your weekend was good. Bobo and I did a lot of walking this weekend, which is really great. Good for everything. Physical activity is very good for you. I should tell you in the Discord. I guess well, it doesn't really matter. Hi to Meowing, Jane and Badger. Canada, oh Canada. I know walking is so good. It's like it's like God's whatever. God's adversary. Good night, Kim. Good night, dearest. I hope we lull you to sleep, darling. Good morning, Pepper. Saltina, my sister. I love you, Pep. I love you, Pep. You're one of those people that just lifts people up. I really love that about you. I noticed that about you. So don't think it goes unnoticed. I just want you to know that because I do notice that. You lift people up, and I really appreciate you for that. Because it's hard to lift people up like on a consistent basis when things are so hard, right? It's just hard. And I think a lot of people in this community do, by the way. I think that's one of our features is that we really are genuinely happy for people when things happen or we feel empathic when things do not go well. So I just really but Pepper is one of those people who is like tried and true, like has always been there, has always been there. So what a good wonderful group of people. So grateful for you. I hope you know that. I don't know if you know that because I don't. I always like sometimes my brain takes over and I can't do things, which will go away. I think with therapy and the pills stuff like that. I think I get better. I think I'm better than I was like two. No, in 2020 and 2021 after it all fell apart in 2019. I was not doing well at all and I wasn't doing anything really. And so I really appreciate this community because you're one of the reasons that I um, really have made any progress out of my quagmire. Really, I mean this. So I just want to say thank you. I'm feeling that this morning, and I'm really grateful to the people who have uh, really created what is a community beyond my imagination and hopes. I remember when I was pregnant, I was like, God, I hope my child isn't an asshole. And she wasn't. She turned out not to be an asshole. And I'm like, oh, phew. Thank God I didn't raise an asshole. You won the balloon race, but you felt deflated ever since. Wah, wah. Oh, I'm sorry, Oomph. Well, congratulations on your win. Congratulations on your win. Yes, Pepper, amazing people in this community. You seem like you're getting better since I met you, and that's not long ago. Yeah, no, I mean, I make small. I mean, I'm definitely a different person than I was in like 2020 and early 2021. So I'm definitely easier to be around than I was. Hey man, depression is a bitch. Yeah. But anyway, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday. Oh my god, it's Monday, Monday, Monday. And that means we don't have, well, we do have a couple things to watch actually that I've teed up for us. And then I have about 5 articles that I'd like to read if we can get through them. Which I think we can, because there's not, I mean, there's not like congressional stuff happening today that would get in the way of our amazing experience. Oh yeah, happy Monday. Welcome to Wake and Bake with Lolo. I'm Lolo. And these are the loungers that you see on the screen. I don't know what I didn't know you then. I mean since November 2024, although it's been rough on everyone since the election and in some ways getting better. Absolutely. Oh, which asshole do I have in my Disco server? You can message me. I have an asshole in my Discord server. Hey, hey, hey. Oh. Oh, hell yeah. I love the list. Oh, he's in there? Oh my god. Where is he? This guy is begging for it, right? He is begging for trouble, begging for trouble. Let me see, cause I'm gonna get him out of here. La 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 la. Where's my? Oh, I know, sir. Bleep, bloop. Oh fucking hell! Are you kidding me? You stupid fucking asshole. Let's kick. Okay, he should be gone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So much. I should take a look at that. Yeah, bullets. Oh god. I know you're obsessed. I get it. I'm amazing. I'm one of the most amazing women on the planet, but I wouldn't fuck you with Trump stick. So, go away, go back to your wife, go back to your farm, go back to your whatever in Pennsylvania and just leave me alone. Stop tagging me in stupid ass fucking shit. I don't even know you. You came at me a long time ago when I wasn't talking to you. I don't know who you are. And now you seem obsessed. And you are threatening and you clone my name and you go and drop terrible racist shit in other chats without me knowing it. You create posts about me but then block me so that I can't see the posts. So you are a very vile person in real life. Yes, he does. Which I would like to talk to his wife and find out if he does this. He does it to a lot of women on the internet. I'm not the only one. He's doing it to a few other women. And I think he's dangerous. I think he's dangerous. He's like one of those old, he's like a chud, and he is like one of those, he's terribly racist. Oh my God, the racism is just like off the charts bad. He's very disordered. He needs to be committed, really. He's beyond that. He probably has some criminal activities in his background, I'm pretty sure. And yeah. So, right? Like, why are you spending so much energy stalking me? Stop it. Stop it. He took someone's granddaughter's picture and like put it on the internet and was pretending to be the granddaughter. It was so weird. Like, he's fucking sick. He needs to be like 5150 because he's dangerous in his obsession over women and children on the internet. So, I don't know. I don't know. These dudes, man, they just are so fucking weird. He might be dangerous to his wife. I don't know. I haven't seen her, so I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much for that heads up, Max. I don't know why I didn't see that come through. I just haven't. Well, I haven't been on Discord. That's why. I'll pay more attention to Discord in terms of managing members because I'm really protective of our Discord because every Discord I've been in has been full of shitheads that are weird and fucking awful. From the convoy days, they're all literally trash. And so I really don't want Discord to become anything other than what it is right now. So yeah, I'm very choosy. It's my porch, and I only invite certain people onto it. And right now, I'm trying to be open, but I won't be open. It won't be open much longer if we get that bullshit, those types of people in there. So thank you, and I'm sorry that you guys had to witness that. But you know what? I have a feeling that Bullets and Barbecue will get his comeuppance one day because he's going to piss off the wrong person with a burly husband, and he might, you know, he might not take as kindly to Bullet's nonsense. So whatever, whatever. Go ahead, do you? But more importantly, we have. Oh my gosh, I don't want to play it first. I don't think. I think what I'm going to play first, so I can smoke some weed. Is I have where is it? Oh, I have a longer piece. The Discord gang got after him like a T cell after a parasite. I fucking love you guys. He is a parasite. He's a total parasite. Just taking that picture of the granddaughter is just like, oh my god, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you? Oh my god. Good morning, J Rance. Hi, how are you? Muskie's here. Hi. I didn't even see you come in. I'm so sorry, Muskie. Good morning. Now I see you. Yeah. Oh, good morning. Good morning. Good. And yeah. So this morning, the first thing I have is a Justin Wolford piece on the bill. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna play first. I think that's what I'm gonna play first. Don't tell anything. Don't say anything. But it's like 26 minutes. I wonder. I don't think he does, Neil. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, special shout out to Max. Oh my god, was he like in there causing problem? He was spamming? Oh my god, you fucking little piece of shit. You fucking little piece of shit. Well, I deleted his message history, so whatever his message history was is gone. I'm so sorry, y'all. I am so sorry. I will pay more attention. That is on me. I'm so sorry you had to deal with this. Not that old, just looks 75. Yeah, that's what he looks like. He looks like an inflamed testicle with hair on it. That's what he looks like. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Oh, you guys. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, god. I feel bad. Well, I didn't go into there yesterday and I could say testicle. All good. It was handled. It certainly was handled. Oh my god, he's so awful. Mm, mm. Well, I'm just sorry people had to be exposed to that because he's really he's a very small man with a very small penis, I'm sure. He's probably touching it right now, trying to, get something going. I'm sorry. I just like insulting guys like that. Anyways. Good morning, butterflies. How are you? Well, all right. He'll come in with other alts, by the way. He's going to come up with other alts. Just be prepared. Okay? That's the way he is. I'm going to watch more closely. And if he doesn't stop, I'm going to take legal action against him. So he needs to understand that I'm not going to fuck around. I'm gonna find. I know where he lives because other people. He already disclosed where he lives, so I know he can be served. So, uh, he better watch it. He better watch it. He better watch it. No, I won't be silent. I won't take it. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, he posted his address in the Discord? What a fucking dumb shit. All right, well, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That's what's, that's what's what. He did? Oh my fucking god. What? Why? 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 Yeah, let's go legal fund. Oh, yeah. I mean, really, it's pretty easy to do that from here and file charges and shit. To rock. No, he doesn't live in West by God, Virginia. He lives in Pennsylvania, he said. So, I don't know. Roll up. He does have a lot of guns. He puts guns on stream all the time, but he's very nervous when he touches his gun, I noticed. Cuz he gun bombed one of the streams, right? He came on panel and then he showed I don't know, whatever gun he had. I don't know what it was. But apparently he was shaking the whole time he was holding it. So he's not exactly the most confident shot. But he does have guns. He does have guns. And yeah. Yeah, he's just a mad little man. He's just a mad, mad, mad. Oh, he's definite. Oh yeah, no, he's inflamed with alcohol. Oh god, yeah. His his liver is not gonna last. It's not gonna last. Pennsylvania. I don't know if he's in whatever that Pennsylvania or whatever that is. No, I don't think. I don't know where he is. I don't know where his town is. I haven't looked or anything like that, but I do know what it is. So whatever. But hey, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That's what I'm gonna say. That's the theme. Like when I figure it out, I'll take care of it. I was just reading a medical study on marijuana. They tested it for carcinogenic chemicals, fertilizers from China. Almost all of them tested positive. Oh my god! Don't say that. Call him a FUD. What's a FUD? Fucking ugly dude. Yeah, that area qualifies as Tucky. Okay, Hillbilly, Pennsylvania. Okay. Morning. Hi, Josh. No, I'm not talking about your liver. No, I'm not talking about your liver. No, we're not discussing your liver this morning, Josh. Just a chud or a fud. Yeah, an armed lunatic with spasms. Actually, absolutely. He's like, I'm gonna shoot you. Stand still. I'm gonna shoot you. Stand still. That's my impression. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Stand still. I can't see you. Stand still. Oh, that's gonna make him mad, but I don't care. Die mad, you salty bitch. You'll die before I do. Thank fucking Jesus. I'm sorry. I think that's funny. I'm sorry. I think that's funny. Just a little bit. Eh. Okay. That's better. Anyway. Oh, sorry, Josh. This chud came into the Discord yesterday and dropped all kinds of racist stuff. This guy has had it out for me and other women on the internet. He's a fucking ugly little bitch dude who goes around and impersonates people, which is against the law in California, in order to defame them. So he literally breaks the exact law that we have in California, where you cannot impersonate someone with the intent to defame them. That's against the law. And at some level, it's a felony, which is hilarious. Oh yeah, no, I know. I know some of the laws here in California, and we don't really take kindly to that. And we have a very good attorney general, so I love Rob Bonta. Hello, Carrie. Good morning. Oh, meowing star, I'm good. I'm glad you laughed about it. They're little tiny men, and they think they're all big and strong, and but they have to do extreme things in order to be noticed, and that's pretty much where we're at. If you have to do something extreme in order to be noticed, then you're not worth noticing. That's just the way it works around here. Yeah. Anyway, he can't get his own channel off the ground, so he's going to try and ruin everybody else's. Whatevs. Um. So, anyways, pink waving hands. He does. He looks well. He looks like an inflamed testicle. Sorry, that's what when I look at his face, I see this bulbous kind of like inflammation. Anyway, good morning, Teresa. How are you, darling? He looks like a fucked up gnome. Well, it's all right. Anyway, I would actually enjoy owning a farm in wherever Pennsylvania he has. So that might actually work out because I need a retirement place, and I wouldn't mind retiring in the farmlands of Pennsylvania. That would be fine by me. All right. Anyway, we have important things to do. So fuck the fuds. Fuck the fuds all the way off. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna pull up my beautiful Gorgiasio Justin Wolfers, and this one's gonna be a little bit of a long one. Yeah, well, an inflamed testicle butterfly is different, very different, very different, very different. You know, round and kind of shiny because of all the inflammation. Anyways. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Everyone's trying to like have a good morning. And here I am doing my usual bullshit. Okay. Hope he's shaving. Oh, I'm sure he's doing more than that. What is the latest story? What is the latest story with Blue Sky? Why shouldn't it be trusted? Just noticed the search was changed and we used to be able to search for our own posts. Oh, really, Jane? I don't know. I do not know. Facebook did that 2 years ago. Really? I left all the Meta products, which actually I kind of miss Instagram, so I'm a little sad, but it's okay. I know, Carrie, I'm sorry. Carrie, I'm so sorry. Anyways, fuck the haters. Boost my channel, bitch. Do it. But anyway, um, I'll probably change it so that people that want to join the Discord server have to go through me. So that's fine. We'll do it. That's no problem. We know how to do that. But I'm going to protect that community with everything I have. I'm sorry. We're not going the route of other stupid things. I had a hernia surgery. My nuts swelled up like plums. I'm so sorry, Josh. Josh, I'm so sorry. Josh, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I'm laughing and I'm so sorry. A gauntlet of well, actually, I guess we had a gauntlet of loungers with paddles yesterday for him. I love it. I love it. Oh my god. It's not our first rodeo. There are some lurkers that could stand to leave also. Yes. Not such good memory. No, not a good memory. Hey man, you know what? They all boost the algorithm. I don't give a shit. Lurk away. Lurk and jerk. Max came in with a tank and it was done. I'm going to tell you right now, Max knows this community as much or better than I do because of our experiences in the past. So Max is a fierce defender too of the right. She knows what's what and how to shut it down. But I'm sorry you guys had to go through that. I really am. That's not something I wanted you to have to go through. She is a badass. Yes, she is. Max Flower has always been a badass. From the day I interacted with her in a chat and went, oh shit. I know. Max is like, I wish I didn't know about these people. Well, from FUDs to buds, I don't know. That's what I'm going to say. I don't know. But yeah, Max, you are a badass. You need to own that because, girl, you are in it. This is a Times Radio, or no, it's not. Oh, it is a Times Radio. It's a Times Radio piece with Justin Wolfers, and I think it's from, when is it from? 2 days ago. This is 2 days ago. I think, Teresa, you shared this. I think. I want to say that. I want to say it was you who shared this originally. Doggy was looking for someone like you. Big balls. Okay, so this is Justin Wolford on the big bill and just the stuff that we kind of know, but I just absolutely love it when Justin Wolfers explains it to us. He's an economist professor from Michigan. Not originally, he's from like Australia, but he is. He's very well spoken and he explained things in a way I know. So he's going to explain to us about why this bill is really shitty, although we already know. Okay, bye.
Right now is out there saying, I just passed a huge tax cut. I want to say that he didn't. You might say, that seems weird. What he's done is mostly left spending alone. The thing is, when you borrow money to spend, someone has to pay it. So I'm not going to, which means someone else is. And the way they're going to pay it is through taxes. That someone else, by the way, is probably my kids. He hasn't cut taxes. He's redistributed them across time. That's really, really, really important.
Hi, I'm Fergus McPhee and welcome to the Trump Report on Times Radio. A reminder, you can watch us every day, Monday through Friday on our YouTube channel, and you can also listen and follow the show wherever you get your podcasts. Joining me today, once again, is Justin Wolfers, Professor of Public Policy and Economics at the University of Michigan. Justin, it's been a while since we last spoke, but thanks for coming back on. How are you?
Mate, you have got the slowest beat in all of journalism. If only there was something to talk about.
Well, we've got plenty to talk about today, as we always do on the Trump Report. But we are talking this morning, of course, after the US House of Representatives has passed Donald Trump's huge tax and spending bill. He called it the One Big Beautiful Bill. Other people have called it the mega bill. We won't use either of those words. The important thing is it passed 218 votes to 214, then passed the Senate by one vote, and it will, we think, be signed into law today. Can you just give us a little bit of a refresh on what is in the bill and why there was some opposition
Fergus is dry.
from Republicans over its passing?
Okay. So the main feature of the bill is renewing the Trump tax cuts from 2017. Why do we need to renew them? It's complicated. You need to understand how the American Congress works. Most times to get legislation through, you need 60 votes in the Senate. There's a loophole called budget reconciliation. You can get through with 51 votes, but that means you can't increase the deficit beyond 10 years, which means every time you pass a law like this, it has to sunset. So Trump's last go at tax reform ended. He's back in power. He gets to restart it. So that's the main part of it. Now, there's a lot more going on, but I just want to give the audience sort of the broad overview, which is $4 trillion in tax cuts, $1 trillion in spending cuts. So therefore, by the magic of subtraction, we're blowing out the deficit by $3 trillion. Let me add two more things. The spending cuts predominantly are coming from cuts to Medicaid, which is a government insurance program that covers working and middle-class Americans. So that has caused a lot of gnashing of teeth and hand-wringing, particularly among those who are predisposed to care about working and middle-class Americans. You asked the question, why has it been difficult for Trump to get this passed? And it's been very difficult. It was a tiebreaker in the Senate, so 50 to 51, and only by a couple of votes in the House. This for an all-in Republican bill with the president's full-throated approval. And I think there's two answers. One's political and the other's economic, and they're closely related. The political one, the Trump coalition is the most unusual political coalition you could imagine. It's the Republican Party, the plutocrats, the golfers, the country club folks, the management consultants, Wall Street, the low tax folks. Then you can add on a few libertarians who hang on to the Republicans because they still believe that's where libertarian values were. Among the country club set, there's a certain set of fiscal conservatives.
Carrie, I just saw what you said.
Sort of a Romney Republican. Among the libertarians, you have anti-deficit hawks, people who think that blowing out the budget is a real problem. They want the government to be smaller. They want debt to be smaller. They want leverage that others might have over the US to be small. And then, so all of that was sort of Reagan's coalition. And then there's the populist, the guy who turns up to rural and working class towns and has won the adulation of many working class Americans, folks who the Democrats may have taken for granted, who Democrats may have seen as their constituency, even if they weren't reliable voters. And those populists are mad, and they want things torn down. I think the strongest sense I get is of rage at a system they feel isn't serving them well. The thing is, when you've got populist rage at a system that isn't serving you well in the same party as the country club and Wall Street, that's a fragile coalition. Now to the economics, to answer your question, I'm going on a lot this morning. I'm sorry, Fergus. But it blows out the deficit. Already, last year, before this,
Yeah, why is that?
the US budget deficit was 6.4% of GDP, which, to put that in English, because not all of us have graphs in our head, in 2007, before the financial crisis, the US budget deficit hadn't been that high in 50 years. Even during the worst recession, we wouldn't blow out spending that much. So our deficit right now is the sort of deficit that would make sense at a moment of economic crisis, even though we're not, hopefully, in one. And then this adds to that deficit. So if Republicans ever were fiscal conservatives, there's a really big if in that sentence, but there's a lot of people who identify that way. This is the opposite, and that is why Trump has had trouble keeping it together.
You talked about the sort of broad umbrella of people within the Republican Party then, all the different groups. If we get onto the kind of specifics of the bill itself, who will, in your mind, this bill benefit and who will bear the brunt of it?
Right. Fabulous question. So to go back and paint a picture, remember that traditional country club Republicans want low taxes, particularly on the wealthy. They believe in capital, unleashing the power of investment. The populist wing is working and middle class folks angry at the system. These tax cuts all go here. They all go to the wealthy. They all go to extending corporate tax cuts. They all go to partnerships. It's a terrific time to be driving a BMW to the golf club.
Yes, I do have it.
And so in a deep sense, it is a betrayal of the president's populist moment. So
do you want
let me just put a little flesh on these bones.
I mean,
what we have is huge tax cuts that go predominantly to the rich, but they do touch the middle class. Trump was very careful to make sure they touched the middle class. They might touch you, but if someone else is getting the real bonus and it's not
I forgot about that.
The spending cuts, all of a sudden they can find the poor because they're Medicaid predominantly, which is used by working middle class Americans. So they're also very regressive, hurt the poor, don't touch the rich. And then the part that's not part of the budget, but is part of the fiscal plan is tariffs. You might say, why aren't tariffs part of the budget? And it's simply because the tariffs are coming through executive orders from the president and that whole business about reconciliation, which is more complicated and uninteresting than your audience cares about. But if they're going to keep tariffs, serious tariffs, and it looks like we're going to learn that that's in fact the case.
That's a good idea.
Tariffs are like a sales tax. And so they're roughly a flat share of your spending.
Thanks for that.
And lower income folks spend a larger share of their income than higher income folks. And so therefore tariffs take a bigger chunk out of the income of lower income folks than higher income folks. Add those three regressive things up together. And what you get is the very richest Americans, the top 1/10, will come out about $7,000 a head per year. The next richest, which you might call either the lower upper class or the upper middle class, they come out dead even. So we've accounted for 20% of the population. If those folks are getting a bunch, someone else is paying for it. It's everyone else. It's 80% of the American population. And it's not even just that. Because this is so regressive, the very poorest in, the
It might
working
have been his
class,
haggis.
are paying literally the most in dollars, not in a percentage, in dollars. So for the poorest 1/10, they're going to lose about $2,500 a year, which if you're trying to make do on $20,000 a year is a big chunk of change. So the likelihood is the typical Trump voter is going to end up financially worse off. Now, that's not a very interesting statistic because the typical person is going to end up quite a bit worse off.
Is the important thing to mention, though, politically, is this a little bit of a masterstroke? Because you've obviously got the midterms next year. Straight away, you might see, the top line of, tax cuts, which might hit before then. And yet the deficit increase and the cuts to Medicare, is it right that they'll actually come after the midterms?
Oh, the question, is it a political masterstroke? So let me start with the humorous take on that. Is it a political masterstroke that a billionaire from New York can get working and middle-class Americans who are struggling in rural areas and feel that the system has screwed them
pictures coming out
to vote for a candidate?
Are we there yet?
Who will
the Epstein
redistribute
files?
from working middle-class Americans to the rich? It's unbelievable. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but boy, if you wanted to be one, you would say, "God, by jingo, we took those guys for a ride." This is the largest redistribution from poor to rich in a single bill in American history. And it's supported by the poor. Incredible. Okay, so now let me come back. You're asking about a different form of cynical politics. There's so many forms of cynical politics. So let me explain to the audience. Remember I said under reconciliation, the particular procedure they're using, you can't blow out the deficit in the future. So the trick they use is they pass a bunch of stuff and they have some of it disappear at various points over the next 10 years, because these are budgets that are really over a 10-year window. And it turns out all the pain, the cuts to Medicaid, come after the midterms. They're just like, we have a really, really urgent, important reform that we stand behind, which is why we're definitely going to implement it only after the election. And all of the joy comes up front. In fact, the things the president ran on, which is no tips on overtime, no tax on tips, tax on overtime. First of all, he watered those programs down. Secondly, in this budget, those programs exist for the next 2 years and then disappear. And in fact, many of the goodies disappear before the election, after the election, or at least they disappear at the end of the Trump presidency. So some disappear after the midterms and some after the Trump presidency. So the set of policies as a whole look like they were written in the country club. The timing of the policies looked like they were written in a Washington, D.C. basement with political operatives smoking fat cigars.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to be in full-on
I haven't had the mushroom
economist
coffee
explainer
yet.
mood here, Justin. So I think it happens in the UK as well. A lot of the time when we see headlines about the economy, the debt, interest rates, growth, a lot of the time people don't quite understand what it means to them day to day, okay? So I think the US debt that currently stands at $36 trillion. We've said this bill is expected to increase it by over $3 trillion in the next 10 years. What will that actually mean to everyday Americans?
So first of all, understanding what the debt is a very hard question. So you just said 36 trillion. That's correct. But actually, 7 trillion of that is money that one part of the government owes to another. So folks who are trying to scare you talk about 36 trillion. Folks who are trying to tell you the truth talk about 29 trillion. And that's, by the way, a tell for the audience. If someone says 36 trillion, not you, Fergus, you're a wonderful person. Maybe a producer misled you on this. And I know you want to be honest. But really, if someone tells you 36 trillion, that's a tell they're lying to you. So it's 29 trillion. And then you say, what does 29 trillion do? Well, you could think about what is your debt relative to your annual income. That's what a person might do. Well, here it's going to be awfully close to 100%. That's not a magic number. What that means is the size of how much the United States government owes is equal to total production in the United States over 365 days. That's still so that's the
So that's
second thing. I
break
think I've said
even?
this on your show before. Anytime someone talks in trillions, they're trying to make sure you don't understand. So what I just did is I turned it into
Max?
something a little more interpretable. It's basically 1 year's income or 1 year's production in the United States. How worrying is that? One way of thinking about it, if I think about, can I afford my family's mortgage, is I compare the interest payments to my income. And so if you do that, the interest payments will probably be about 3.5% or 4% of our annual income. So it's clear we can pay it. Can is different than want to, right? I would much rather not pay 4% of my income just in an interest bill. So that right there, you don't need to ask an economist. This is simply arithmetic. If you spend 4% of your income and get nothing back, it doesn't feel good. That's the most important thing, which is government is going to have to write a lot of checks and not build roads with it, not create education, not create national defense, not do anything that
What's for
brings us any joy.
stigmatic? Oh my God. That's stigma.
Okay, so
stigmata?
what are the other broader implications of this? The more money you borrow, the more that you're seen as a risk of not repaying it. That's as true for people as it is for countries. A reasonable rule of thumb, now I'm really going to nerd out for folks at home, is for every 1% you raise the debt to GDP ratio, remember that's the thing that's about 100% right now, you raise interest rates by about 0.02%, which sounds small. But if you are on track to raise the debt to GDP ratio
That is nice.
by, say, 25%, so from 100 to 125, which is roughly what we're on track to do over the next decade, 25 times 2 100ths equals 50 100ths, which equals a half. So what that then says is that interest rates in the United States are probably going to rise by about 0.5 percentage point as a result of this budget. What does that mean? Well, first of all, when you owe someone $29 trillion, 0.5% turns out to be a lot. And so our interest payments will rise again because of that. Secondly, almost all interest rates charged to Americans are keyed off of that government bond rate. So what that means then is my mortgage payment's going to rise by 0.5%. If you own a house that's worth $500,000, if interest were to rise by 1%, that would be $5,000 a year. So that 0.5% would cost you $2,500 a year. And it's not just your house, it's your car loan, it's your credit card, it's student loans, and so on. Those higher interest rates also are going to mean that folks are less willing to invest. Breaking ground on a new factory is no longer such a good deal if you have to pay the bank so much more. And so that would slow economic growth. Now, all of that's manageable, but it's a cost, right? I'm not giving a gloom and doom story.
Is there a gloom and doom story?
Good morning, Jay.
Are you really fascinated? Do you really want to hear that or not?
Oh, well, I think both I and our audience would love to hear that.
Okay, I just didn't want to talk too long without involving my good friend Fergus. It's an occupational hazard of being a professor. Okay, so here's the terrifying thing. Actually, I'm going to start with really good news. We're currently in a world where we can repay our debts, and the world understands we can repay our debts. So therefore, the world charges us low interest rates. Because the world charges us low interest rates, we can repay our debts. That's terrific. There's another world we could enter. If the world starts to believe we can't repay our debts, they're going to jack up our interest rates. They jack up our interest rates, the amount we have to pay to service our debt goes up. If that happens, maybe we can't repay our debts. So you can move from one situation to another if you're at risk of the possibility that if interest rates rise enough, it becomes too much and we can't bear it. So that's the risk. Once your debt gets as high as we
I hope
are,
everything goes well.
staying in this happy, virtuous cycle is wonderful, but it raises the possibility that if we enter the vicious cycle, we're screwed. Whereas if our debt were low, even if interest rate payments went up, we could still afford it, right? But now debt's high, so now that raises the possibility. So that's called a crisis of confidence. You might say, well, could that happen to a country like America?
How likely say after this bill, for example, how likely might something like that be to happen to the US?
I want to be clear, unlikely. But I also want to point out that this actually happens to serious countries. So this is the story of what happened to Greece in the financial crisis. Everyone thought they couldn't pay their debts, jacked up their rates, they couldn't pay their debts. And so Greece went from a very happy fiscal situation. We all thought it was an advanced economy. Maybe we didn't look hard enough. And then kaput. Could that happen in America? Yes. Do I think it would happen in America? Was I worried about this happening in America over the last 20 years? No, for two reasons. One, our debt was much lower. And two, the other thing that could cause that precipitating event of everyone believes to no one believes is unstable political leadership. I don't know. For some reason, I start worrying about that these days.
I guess I go back to one of my previous questions as well. If, obviously, you'd said it's a big if something like that does happen, I guess by the time it does, Donald Trump will likely be long gone from power as well.
This is where I'm going to be an economist and say, I don't care who's to blame, I just want to avoid it. And, you know, our debt is the result of 50 years of history. It's the result of COVID. It's the result of the Great Recession. It's the result of Obama and Biden and Bush and Reagan. And it's also the result of Trump. The president right now is out there saying, I just passed a huge tax cut. I want to say that he didn't. You might say, that seems weird. What he's done is mostly left spending alone. The thing is, when you borrow money to spend, someone has to pay it. So I'm not going to, which means someone else is. And the way they're going to pay it is through taxes. That someone else, by the way, is probably my kids. He hasn't cut taxes. He's redistributed them across time. That's really, really, really important. If I were politically conservative and what I wanted was tax cuts, I would be pissed because he hasn't cut them. He's done the politically easy thing of saying, you guys don't have to pay, but we'll make someone else pay it. There's an old expression which says the only way to cut taxes is to cut spending. If you cut spending, then you haven't created any future tax obligations. So then you are actually cutting tax obligations, not just switching them across time and who gets to pay them.
No, thank you so much, Justin. That was a fantastic explainer on a complicated issue. We're just going to move on to something that I've spoken to you about in the past. It's the tariffs, because next week they will be rearing their head again. Wednesday, the 9th of July, is the deadline for Trump's 90-day pause. Now, he said that he wanted to do 90 deals in 90 days. We're 85 days in as we speak. How are we doing ahead of the pause ending next week?
I think we're at 2.5.
You would be right. UK, Vietnam, and sort of China, I think.
No,
right. And what we don't. Is it is easier to trade with no country on earth today than it was in 2024.
It's more expensive
for Americans to trade with any country in the world than it was in 2024. We are more isolated today than we were in 2024.
Like literally.
What we may not be right now is with 2.5 countries, we may be better off than we were on April 2nd, Liberation Day. There's a lovely continuity to this discussion, by the way, because we went from talking about taxes to talking about tariffs. Oh, taxes. The first was about taxes on the American people. This is about taxes on the American people. But you had a question, sir.
I guess the question is, I'm going to ask you to use your crystal ball slightly on what is actually going to happen next week. He said that he's not going to extend the current deadline and that he's going to be sending out letters to sort of certain countries and trading partners today. We don't actually know which countries yet are going to be expected to pay what. Do you have any thoughts and predictions in your crystal ball?
Yes. So first of all, what have we been doing for 90 days? I think you might enjoy the following analogy, because a trade deal is when you sit down with someone and you work out, hey, how can we both be better off? How can you enrich our economy and you enrich and we enrich yours? That requires a conversation. What he's doing is sending out letters. So my analogy is a letter is to a trade deal as masturbation is to sex. Whatever you're dreaming about, there's only one person in the room. And if there were two, there would be the opportunity to each make each other a whole lot better off. But that's not how masturbation works.
That might be a first for the Trump report. That might be the first time masturbation's been mentioned on the show.
But
Fergus.
in a very economically sophisticated way, right? So we're now sending letters. So what that means is we didn't do deals. The deal maker failed to do deals. By the way this all started was he held up a big board that listed numbers that he unilaterally decided.
Josh, 90
And the only thing
trained
that's
eels.
changed over 90 days is he's going to take the board, put it on its side, photocopy it down to letter size and send it in
90 trained eels in
mail.
90 days.
So that means nothing happened over 90 days. That's my frustration speaking. Now, let me come back and try and be a little more analytic. The president said he's expecting to send out 10 letters a day. I should teach him how to do a mail merge. I could do it quicker. The second thing is he said he expects rates between 10 and 70%. That kind of suggests we might be back to Liberation Day. It suggests that we are going to have the highest tariff rates in post-war America. It says that we're going to have tariff rates that are 5, 10, or maybe 20 times higher than other industrialized nations. And it seems to suggest that the president is utterly intent on isolating Americans from the rest of the world. I have been surprised that financial markets freaked out the first time and haven't freaked out the second time.
Hello.
Maybe they don't believe that this is what's going to happen. This is the old, will this be Taco Tuesday, Trump always chickens out, or Tariff Tuesday? He's speaking as if it's going to be Tariff Tuesday, in which case you and I get to continue this long and glorious conversation that we enjoy, where we talk about Trump and tariffs every time your audience needs to know.
Thank you, Justin. Oh my God. Yes, I have the Axios piece on the Epstein pulled up, and so we can read that here. Hey, Peace Love. Good morning. Good morning. I prefer a drier form of economic analysis. Thank you, Neil. 90 trained eels in 90 days. Oh my God. We're paying more than we were under Joe Biden. Okay. It's just, this is going to be so bad. This is going to be real bad. I have something else coming up. I won't play it right away, but I have Mrs. Beasley, who did an interview yesterday on Face the Nation, which was absolutely disgusting. Has this story been confirmed by other outlets? I only have an Axios. Although, wait, I did. I think it came up in here. Did I do this right? No. Yeah. There's a Yahoo News piece on it. There's a penlive.com. What is that? CBS4 Indie. Oh, that's something. That's wrong. But I just pulled up the Axios piece. The DEA is a program where they grind up citrus skins and add them to cattle feed to change the pH so that mushrooms won't grow in the cow poop. Wow, Jim, that's a lot of detail. That's a lot of detail. Yeah, I was listening last night to this really dumb. I see. Yeah, I was listening to last night to this really dumb audiobook about technocracy. It was written actually in like 2016 by a guy that attributed it to globalists. So yeah, so he attributed it all of technocracy to globalists. And sustainable development. He linked those two things. That basically sustainable development was technocracy, which I mean maybe somewhat accurate, but yeah, it was a red flag. It was a red flag. I tuned in on the MAGA meltdown space. Oh my God, about what? Oh, about the Epstein stuff. Unless the cows like the citrus. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I don't. That's fine. Apparently, most of the tariffs aren't even being collected because there's no clear instructions. Oh, that's interesting, Carrie. I wondered about that. Because I also wonder, like, wouldn't I don't know how to demand more detail about Doge and all the the cuts that were made and the whatever analysis, et cetera, which I know doesn't exist. So but don't you think that if you cut spending for fiscal year 2025, right? You literally have allocated money, but not just sent it out. Doesn't that go down to the debt? I mean, the thing is we're not asking, no one in the press is really asking, okay, what's the cash flow within the executive arm of the government? What is the cash flow, Russ Vogt? Where is the money going? Where is the tariff money? If we're collecting tariff money already, which it sounds like we're not, is that, where's that money going? Like, I have so many questions. I feel like this is, anyway, I kind of jumped around. I'm sorry. I was listening to this book about technocracy, and of course they were linking it to sustainable development, and that's whatever. And it was too early. It was like 2016 or 17 when this book was written, so it wasn't really cognizant of Elmo or something. It didn't make the connection to Elon at all, which is interesting. And which I guess makes sense if Elon wasn't really a factor. I don't remember when Elon really came on the scene, like in a big gushy way. I can't remember. I suppose it was around 2016. I don't know. Anyway, point is that it still was a description of what the vision of this maladministration can be, which is I think what we've all called, which is the privatization of services, the kind of trade agreements with countries that really end up being more about our access to their natural resources. And I believe that they are really focused on creating that technate, like the where you do have access and you can push things into AI, and basically people become serfs. That you are beholden. They become corporate kind of entities, and you are beholden to this corporate entity for pretty much everything. And I think they're really trying to do it. I think they're really trying to make it a thing, make fetch happen. So I don't know. It's really interesting. Okay, so here we go. This is an Axios piece from 14 hours ago. Exclusive: DOJ FBI conclude Epstein had no client list. That stuff you've seen on the internet, never mind it. It's all made up. And died by suicide. President Trump's Justice Department and FBI have concluded that they have no evidence. Oh my gosh, yeah. Don't you trust Kash Patel? Speaking of mushrooms, jury finds Australian woman deliberately killed lunch guests with poisoned beef Wellington. Oh my gosh. I did see something about that. We weren't already serfs. Well, yeah, but now we're going to be serfs in a big way. It's going to be worse. If it can be worse, it's going to be worse. Lee says, here we go. Lee says, not true, Carrie. The U.S. tariffs are definitely being collected and have been since 2018. CBP is now having to refund tariffs that were overcharged due to stacking of tariffs. Oh, interesting. Okay, thank you, Lee, for that update and that knowledge about what is happening. Translates to, we were behind the whole Epstein op and we destroyed the evidence. Yep, exactly, Carla. And I think that, Carrie, what you might have been referring to, is that true? I don't know if this is true or not, but also that because there's no clear instruction on who has what tariff rate and things like that. So probably those higher tariffs aren't being collected because they haven't instituted them formally. I don't know that. Lee would know, of course. All right. So here we go. President Trump's Justice Department and FBI have concluded that they have no evidence that convicted sex offender and disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed a powerful figures, kept a client list, or was murdered, according to a memo detailing the findings. A memo? Wow. The administration is releasing a video in both raw and enhanced versions that says it indicates no one entered the area of the Manhattan prison where Epstein was held the night he died in 2019. The video supports a medical examiner's finding that Epstein died by suicide. A 2-page memo claims. The findings represent the first time Trump's administration has officially contradicted conspiracy theories about Epstein's activities and his death, theories that had been pushed by the FBI's 2 top officials before Trump appointed them to the bureau. interestingly enough. As social media influencers and activists Kash Patel and Dan Bongino were among those in MAGA world who questioned the official version of how Epstein died. Patel and Bongino have since said Epstein killed himself, but it has become an article of faith online, especially on the right, that Epstein's crimes also implicated government officials, celebrities, and business leaders, and that someone killed him to conceal them. The memo says no one else involved in the Epstein case will be charged. Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence for child sex trafficking and related offenses. Wow, this is like a total cover-up. This is a cover-up. I'm going to see if I can find the memo. According to the memo, investigators closely examined footage of Epstein's Manhattan prison cell between 10:40 p.m. on August 9, 2019, between around when Epstein was locked in his cell, and around 6:30 a.m. the next day when he was found unresponsive. The footage, which was reviewed by Axios but couldn't be verified independently, showed no one entering the area, the administration said. The FBI enhanced the relevant footage by increasing its contrast, balancing the color, and improving its sharpness for greater clarity and viewability. They increased the the streaming rate. Ghislaine Maxwell's father was Mossad. Yeah, he was. He was part of Mossad. Yeah. Oh, God. What a mess. What a fucking mess. I have a copy of it, but again, there's something very fishy about this story, so just a heads up. Yeah, no, I think there's a lot that's fishy about it. I didn't see the prison video. I'm going to play it when I finish reading this. Investigators found no incriminating client list of Epstein's, no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals, and no evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. So just stop asking. Oh, there's the memo. As MAGA influencers, Patel and Bongino had been among the loudest voices touting Epstein conspiracy theories. Since joining the government as Trump appointees, they've been more measured in talking about the Epstein investigation, and thrown cold water on the notion that he was murdered. He killed himself, Bongino said on Fox News in May. I've seen the whole file. MAGA's media universe and some of its voices on Capitol Hill have expressed frustration with the Trump administration's handling of the Epstein case. They're not going to let it go. Those chuds are not going to let it go. The rates are known. Sorry, Lee. Okay, we're getting clarification here. The difference is between what the public media know and what the trade community knows. Definitely lots of confusion in media, and details published timely make my job chaos. Yes, Lee. Oh, thank you, Lee. Sorry, Lee. I love you, Lee. Poor Lee. She's like, no, that's not, no. No, that's not right. Record correction. Thank you. MAGA's media universe. Okay, wait. Oh, with the Trump administration's handling of the Epstein case. Hi, Haggard. Since February, when DOJ released a tranche of Epstein-related files that were already publicly available. Conservative figures panned the disclosure, saying it lacked new information. This is not what we or the American people asked for, and a complete disappointment. Rep. Anna Paulina Luna posted, "Get us the information we asked for." When Elon Musk had a falling out with Trump last month, Musk accused the president of being in the Epstein files. Trump posted it on Truth Social, a statement from former Epstein lawyer David Schoen. Wait a minute. Who's also his former lawyer? Oh, yes. Where is it? Hold on. Oh, scroll up to show the memo? I will. Here. Sorry, now I know what you mean. This is the FBI. Here, let me just push it. Let me pull it up now. Wait, where? All right. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, okay. No, we're just gonna just fucking let me. Okay, this is the memo. Okay, here we go. No, keep going up. Wait, what? Noah Bresner. Who's Noah Bresner? Oh, need to see the listed contributor. Oh. Wait, okay, let me go back. What does that mean? Where do I find that? Oh, contributed by Donica Phil Pfeiffer. Donica Pfeiffer, and they renamed the file. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What, Gal Squad? What are we doing? What's happening now? What's happening now? I hope Garcia sues the Trump administration for what they put him and his family through. Yes, I do too. Yeah, there is news on Kilmar Abrego. They're having a press conference, right? It starts out with our commitment to transparency. I have photos of the original. Oh, J Rance. J Rance. Oh, wait, you know what I wanted to see? I wanted to see the video. Let's look at the raw video. Oh, no, this site can't be reached. Oh, 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 you can't see the video anymore. You can't see the video. You can't see the video. Let me see if the enhanced version comes up. Oh, you can't see the enhanced version. Scrolled through our noise last night. God, I just was totally in my own head last night. I'm so sorry. God damn it. Which seems incongruous in this context. Wait, what did you say? First graph looks like standard FOIA Privacy Act stuff, which seems incongruous. I know, right? It's a weird way to start. I smell a cover up. I thought Michael Cohen learned you can't sue for that. I don't know. Hey, you know, the thing is this has to come out, right? These guys are not that smart. They're not that smart. They can't cover shit up that well. Okay, we're gonna go to the memo. Well, actually, let's go to the memo. It's only a page and a half. Here we go. All right, this is the FBI. This is their memo. As part of our commitment to transparency, the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation have conducted an exhaustive review of investigative holdings related to Jeffrey Epstein. To ensure that the review was thorough, the FBI conducted digital searches of its databases, hard drives, and network drives, as well as physical searches of squad areas. That's right, locked cabinets, desk closets, other areas where responsive material may have been stored. We literally didn't know where where it was. We didn't know where anything was here in the FBI. It was a mess. These searches uncovered a significant amount of material, including more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence. The files relating to Epstein included a large volume of images of Epstein, images and videos of victims who are either minors or appear to be minors, and over 10,000 downloaded videos and images of illegal child sex abuse material and other pornography. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Teams of agents, analysts, attorneys, and privacy and civil liberties experts comb through the digital and documentary evidence with the aim of providing as much information as possible to the public while simultaneously protecting victims. Much of the material is subject to court-ordered sealing. Only a fraction of this material would have been aired publicly had Epstein gone to trial, as the seal served only to protect victims and did not expose any additional third parties. Oh, we're going to say this now. Did not expose any additional third parties to allegations of illegal wrongdoing. Through this review, we found no basis to revisit the disclosure of those materials and will not permit the release of child pornography. That's right. We have ethics, people. We may have child pornographers in our party, but we can still pretend we have ethics. Yeah, Iran has copies, right, Josh? Yeah. I wish Iran would do whatever they're going to release, whatever you're going to release. And can we just move on with it? Oh, a draft might not have the right header, letterhead, and heading. Oh, interesting. Yeah, play Mark Kelly. I'm going to piss on you. Sorry. Okay. The systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. Foolish people, foolish peasants. There was also no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. Not that you asked about it. Oh no. Oh God, that's terrible. That's not real. That can't be real. Okay, sensitive information relating to these victims is intertwined throughout the materials. This includes specific details such as victim names and likenesses, physical descriptions, places of birth, associates, and employment history. So we can't possibly redact all that. Our redacting machine is broken, okay? It's like the Frosty machine at McDonald's, the McFlurries. It's like the McFlurry. I can't create that report for you. Consistent with prior disclosures, this review confirmed that Epstein harmed over 1,000 victims. Oh my God. Each suffered unique trauma. Oh, I read that already. One of our highest priorities is combating child exploitation and bringing justice to victims perpetrating perpetuating unfounded theories about Epstein serves neither of those ends. To that end, while we have labored to provide the public with maximum information regarding Epstein and ensured examination of any evidence in the government's possession, it's determined of the DOJ and FBI that no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted. After a thorough investigation, FBI investigators concluded that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City on August 10th, 2019. This conclusion is consistent with the previous findings, including the August 19th, 2019 autopsy findings of the New York City Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, the November 2019 position of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York in connection with the investigation of federal correctional officers responsible for guarding Epstein, and the June 2023 conclusions of DOJ's Office of the Inspector General. The conclusion that Epstein died by suicide is further supported by video footage from the common area of the special housing unit where Epstein was housed at the time of his death. As DOJ's Inspector General explained in 2023, anyone entering or attempting to enter the tier where Epstein's cell was located from the SHU common area would have been captured with this footage. The FBI's independent review of this footage confirmed that from the time Epstein was locked in his cell around 10:40 p.m. on August 9, 2019, until around 6:30 a.m. the next morning, nobody entered any of the tiers in the SHU. During this review, the FBI enhanced the relevant footage by increasing its contrast, blah, 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 blah. Well, does this work? Oh, well, this one works. Oh, is this? Oh, it's like 10 hours. Hey, who put that? Who moved that? Who moved? How is that thing? How does that thing keep moving? How does that thing keep moving? Okay. Well, all right. That's one. Magical trash can. Well, there's people over there. There's people over here. You mean this like particular area? What a weird kind of area. So it's like all kinds of trash all over. I don't know. Okay, I'm not seeing anything. Except for that trash can moves on its own. Not sure what's going on there. All right, well, whatevs. Okay, well they're not going to do anything about it. This is like the worst, stupidest cover up I've ever seen. Actually, it's kind of the dumbest. Not edited. Well, actually, it's 10 hours, so it's haunted. Yeah, exactly. It's the trash can, haunted trash can. Yeah, and then grew hair. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Here's the thing. We understand that whole entire Epstein case, from the way it was handled in West Palm Beach, the way that Alex Acosta handled it, and then became, part of the DOJ in order to probably get rid of a lot of stuff. Like, come on. This has been a cover up since it happened. And these guys are just doing the bidding of the people who are on the goddamn uh, list. And there is a list because we've seen portions of a list. Lutnick was Epstein's neighbor. Oh God, that makes unfortunate sense. Yeah, it's just, this is the thing. This is the last gasp of disgusting people on the planet that want to avoid accountability, privatize the nation. They all have different motivations. Motivations. Video outside. Oh, this is interesting. NPR. What's that's all about? This is January 9th, 2020. Video outside. This is from NPR, so it's not exactly, Joe's website. No problem, J Rants. Video outside cell during Jeffrey Epstein's first suicide attempt no longer exists. January 9, 2020. Surveillance video taken outside of the Manhattan jail cell of accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein during his first suicide attempt was permanently deleted, prosecutors said on Thursday. The admission, revealed in a court filing, provides another embarrassing glimpse into the failures by staff at the Metropolitan Correctional Center to adhere to the protocol or keep accurate records of the troubled federal detention facility. The request for... Stop it. I know. I'll give you money. The request for the video was made by Epstein's former cellmate, Nicholas Tartaglione, who was awaiting trial on drug-related killings. As investigators looked into the unsuccessful July suicide attempt, one theory was that Tartaglione had been involved. But the attorney for the disgraced former cop countered that Tartaglione had intervened to save Epstein and hoped the video would exonerate him. After first reporting that the video had been preserved, prosecutors told the court that further investigation shows the MCC inadvertently preserved video from the wrong tier within the MCC. As a result, the pertinent video no longer exists, prosecutors wrote. How could such a mistake occur? Officials explained it was due to a data entry error. Yeah. When the prison's legal counsel looked up Epstein's cell number in the MCC computer system to ensure the video would be saved, it showed he was in a different cell and floor than where he was actually housed. Why? Furthermore, officials did not watch the video at the time in order to ensure it was the correct footage because an MCC staff member confirmed that the video had been preserved. However, the latest court documents state after reviewing the video, it appeared that the footage contained on the preserved video was for the correct date and time, but captured a different tier than the one where Epstein was located because the preserved video did not show correction officers responding to any of the cells seen in the video. So how do we know that video that we just saw, how do we know that? How do we know that the video we just saw is the place where Jeffrey Epstein was being held at that moment? Like, we don't. Did they learn from 2020 that that's how they get around it, is just show a video and lie about where it's coming from? The wealthy financier who was facing decades-long blah, 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 killed himself less than a month after the July incident. By that point, he was kept alone in a cell and was supposed to be under extra supervision, including 30-minute checks. What? Okay, wait a minute. 30-minute checks? There were no, I don't think, I mean, I would have to watch the whole 10 hours, but I don't think there was any checks on him. Yeah, I know. Virginia just committed suicide too. One of the victims who spoke out. Axios is the only publication reporting on this memo. That's not normal. Yeah, that's true. That's not normal. Although I think Jonathan Swan is a real bud of Trump's. Maybe this is a different video or time frame. I don't know. I just don't know if I trust it yet. Right. Waiting for the usual follow up from other places saying they've confirmed it. Haven't seen any yet. Yeah, that's a great call out, gal. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's really no reason to think that this isn't like any aspect of a cover up is. I'll go ahead and throw all these links in the description of the video. Yikes. Okay, I want to switch gears a little bit. Let's see, what do we got here? What do I got? I got something on. Oh, I wanted to read this about the New York Times piece about the withholding of. Oh, Swan is with the New York Times now? Oh. Yeah, so why don't they have confirmation? Yeah. There weren't checks. The guards slept the whole time, supposedly. Karen, so that's the thing. Like, well, but we don't know then if this is his cell or not. How do we know that's his cell? How do we know? Like, do we know? I don't know. I feel like there's enough that, here's the other thing. One of the things about disinformation and misinformation is that they lie by omission, right? They lie by omission. So it's not just that things are lied about. Yeah, Bill Barr was in control of the prison system. I'll leave it at that. Absolutely, Teresa. I mean, this stinks to high heaven. Okay, this stinks to high motherfucking heaven. And let me tell you, like, it just stinks to high heaven. Ugh. So I have something on school funding. I've got, this is the piece, actually, Max, you said you read this. And this Identity Fusion. I wanted to read that this morning. I also wanted to. I just wanted to look at this. This is an archive of um, the bill and the economics of the bill. So this is actually I really appreciate this, and even though we hate New York Times. And then this, as floods hit, key roles were vacant at Weather Service. So I wanted to, first of all, send my incredible prayers for Texas, and heartbreaking that all of those people lost their lives in that incredible flooding. I don't know if we have a current report on the flooding and whether or not new flooding is expected or has taken place, but yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly, Griffey. I'm high, but I'm not that high. Okay. Yeah, commission, omission, and now AI. I was working on that song this weekend. World of pure disinformation. Let's see. Oh, if you're interested, I have a very good report from 2016 about the attraction to authoritarianism. Oh, well, I would like to read it. I don't know if I'll get to it today, but I would love to feature that. Let me go ahead and see. Oh, what else do I have? Oh no, that's that. Oh, I know. I have one. I have one more thing. Well, let me go ahead and play this, and I'll smoke some weed. But this is Beasley Besant. Ah, thank you. Wait, let me get it. Let me get this. Do. God, I really hate this. I hate this. Okay, there. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to put it in. Wake and bake hot. Wake and bake hot. Thank you, gal. We have the best friends in the whole world. Blah 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 blah. Okay, here's Beasley Besant.
Spring
I'm
and Treasury
sorry.
Secretary Scott Bessent. Welcome to Fox News Sunday, Mr. Secretary. Good to have you.
Oh, it's Fox
Sharon,
News
good to see
Sunday.
you.
Sorry.
Okay, so let's start
He's
with the
such a
bill.
doll.
You wrote a piece over
Such
at
a fucking
FoxNews.com,
robot.
an op-ed, and you say one of the main issues is ending illegal immigration as a key part of this. It's about redirecting an estimated $249 billion in annual wages paid to people here in the U.S. illegally, to those who are here legally, or to American citizens. You say
Oh,
this,
we're gonna
ending
take
the
their
black market
wages.
of undocumented
Okay.
labor by funding enforcement of our existing immigration laws will result in a massive pay raise for the working class. So
Really?
that begs the question then, if that's the case, if there are higher wages, businesses are going to have to pass that on somewhere else. Does that end up then with the American consumer?
Well, I don't think it has to. And
It doesn't have to.
What we saw was
It doesn't have to. That's not an answer. I mean, it is an answer. It means it will, and I can't lie. I can't straight up lie about it. So I'm going to say something like, it doesn't have to, but it will. By changing information on HHS website about trans healthcare, AI has already changed its knowledge of trans healthcare. Really, meowing star. As sites like HHS are weighed much higher than other sources. This is a really good point. First of all, the complete erasure of trans people and their access to gender affirming care, which, by the way, includes a lot more than just trans health care. And to think that, in addition, the use of AI and how this government will populate information that that it will further damage and erase people from common, knowledge. And it won't, obviously, because we will stand. But at the same time, I can't. It's just so fucking dastardly to me that this and in particular on the trans community, and the attack on DEI. I think those two things have been among the most sinister because they started early and they have completely taken root. So I think, I never want us to, well, we won't forget, but I don't want us to miss the significance of the end of DEI and the complete cutout of that language as well as the all-out assault on trans rights, on rights for trans people. So thank you, Meowing Star. I didn't even think about how AI would change that and how the government websites would be a source that feeds other sources. So it's very, that's an excellent call out. And Mrs. Beasley over here is basically trying real hard in this interview not to lie about stuff, but it's real hard. I'll just put Mrs. Beasley right here so she can be next to him so you can see his. Exactly. That's right. We failed our first authoritarian test. Yeah. And I think that, yeah, it's just we have to fight. We have to fight. We cannot forget. We cannot put that to the side. That should be center.
This mass unfettered immigration across the border, whether it's 12 or 22 million people who came in, suppressed working people's wages.
Whether it's 12 or 22 million people that came in. See, he's not even going to commit to the lies that the Trump administration, he's going to remain fuzzy on these lies. This guy's a real motherfucker. He's a real motherfucker. Yeah, AI becomes a feedback loop. That's a good way of putting it, Josh.
And for 20 years, the big lie was that this kind of immigration didn't hurt working people. Now, economists have come out and said, oh, what a surprise.
Which economists?
Even the laws of supply.
Which economists have come out and said that? I would love to know. I haven't heard that.
And demand work in the low-end labor market. So I talk about in that editorial what I call parallel prosperity, that for years Wall Street has done well. Now it's time for Main Street to do well. And they
Wall
can both
Street's
do well.
done well.
And that's
we can both
big,
do well.
Beautiful bill.
Everybody
that's
wins.
That's the beauty of this. It helps
Everybody wins.
Wall Street and Main Street.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those jobs, because there are skeptics who say, the American workers and those who say who are sort of their wages depressed, that they're not going to step up and take some of these jobs. Here's a bit of analysis from libertarian leading Cato Institute. They say the U.S. labor market remains tight, and there are simply not millions and millions of idle American workers sitting on the sidelines just itching to take these newly open jobs.
The Cato Institute.
Trump's broad deportation promises come to fruition, we can expect many immigrant-dependent industries to suffer and few American workers to gain. So is it overly optimistic to think there are Americans who will flood to these jobs?
I don't think that it's overly optimistic to
white.
believe that at a price, Americans will do these jobs. But
I mean, that's him.
Again, with these depressed wages, we've seen a lot of people drop out of the workforce, especially men aged 16 to 35 are in an era of despondency.
What?
And they have dropped out of the workforce.
Really?
They are having health
Where
issues.
are they?
They're having mental health issues.
Where are
and
they?
I think that they will
Then
come
do we want
back
them
in.
working?
And look, this is
They'll
part of
come
President
back?
Trump's agenda. We're doing peace deals, trade deals, and tax deals.
No, you're
and
not.
the trade deals and the tax deals are going to bring back working class jobs with good wages, with good health care.
So let's talk about tariffs, because obviously we're hitting this deadline. We think this week the president's talked about sending out letters to a number of our top trading partners about, listen, if you can't get a deal, kind of this is the drop dead deadline. We are going to drop a new set of tariffs come August 1st. So is it fair to say there's a bit of a pause on the July 9th deadline for some of these trading partners? Who do you think is getting these letters first?
Well, Shannon, I don't think it's a bit of a pause, because I think what's happened is there's a lot of congestion going into the home stretch. And as part of the trade team, what's great about having President Trump on side is he's created maximum leverage. So by telling our trading partners that they could boomerang back to the April 2nd date, I think it's really going to move things along next couple of days and weeks.
Okay, so let's talk about some analyses on these
tariffs we didn't have before him, by the way.
JP Morgan Chase Institute analysis finds a critical group of U.S. employers would face a direct cost of $82.3 billion from President Donald Trump's current tariff plans. They go on to say the investment bank Goldman Sachs said in a report expects companies to pass 60% of their tariff costs on to consumers. Our most recent poll shows that 57% of Americans do think the tariffs are going to hurt the U.S. economy. So some of the experts, everyday Americans, they have real concerns about how this is going to cost them. What's your message to them?
Well, I think there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Where's that from,
I
butterflies?
think, TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, has turned into tariff derangement syndrome. As soon as you call them the Trump tariffs, 90% of Democrats hate them.
Oh,
and,
stop it.
I'm going to have to disagree
Oh.
with Goldman Sachs and JP
Okay.
Morgan. The empirical data shows that we have seen.
I'm going to have to disagree with the Cato Institute and Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. Oh, Cato Institute, NPR said 500,000 manufacturing jobs are open. Really? I don't. Where? Where? Where?
No inflation thus far, and
Oh,
we'll see
really?
over the coming months. And
Okay.
Shannon, there's a big difference in inflation and a one-time price adjustment also. Inflation is a generalized monetary phenomenon. We're not going
Yeah.
to see that.
Oh,
And thus far, we haven't even seen the one-time price adjustments. What we are seeing, the business model for many of our trading partners, especially in Southeast Asia, is to produce, produce, and the manufacturers in those countries are taking the price increases into, or the tariffs into their margins.
So let's talk about
Really?
some of the specifics,
Who?
because the
Who's
EU,
taking them to
you've
there?
talked about that's notoriously difficult because you've got 27 different entities that are feeding into this conversation. They've got a lot of leverage, frankly. They have talked about the fact that they're ready for retaliatory tariffs if this new
the
level
inflation
kicks
rate
in.
went
I know there
up,
were talks through the
actually.
weekend. Where are
Sorry.
we with them?
It's moving along. We'll see where we go. They came to the table late. President Trump brought them to the table about 3 weeks ago with the threat of 50% tariffs. That got an immediate reaction from about 5 of the national leaders, and he had a call with Ursula von der Leyen right after. So we're getting much more fulsome negotiations. But Shannon, I would disagree with you. The leverage here is with the United States. We are the deficit country, the surplus country. The EU has a gigantic trading surplus with us. We have the leverage because their economy is much more export dependent than the U.S. In general, the U.S. is a very large closed service economy that our imports are quite low. We're a big economy, which makes the deficit numbers big.
Let's talk about Japan. The president said this week, tough to make a deal with them. He said they're very spoiled. How's that going?
Japan, again, they are great allies. I think that there may be a nuance here that they have upper house elections on July 20th, and a lot of the things that they're talking about require legislation. So we may have to see what happens with those elections.
Okay, I want to ask you, too, about the Fed chair. The president has said this week, among other things, called Jerome Powell a moron. They are not besties at this point, it appears. There's speculation now that he may go ahead and announce a replacement for him way early, since his term is not up until next May. Wall Street Journal reporting this. An early announcement could allow the chair in waiting to influence investor expectations about the likely path for rates, like a backseat driver, attempting to steer monetary policy before Powell's term ends. You have demurred on whether you would be the guy for that job, but what do you think is the impact of all of this public back and forth with the Fed chair?
Well, Shannon, I'm a basketball fan, and in basketball, there are 2 schools of working the refs. There's the Bobby Knight School and the Dean Smith School. Obviously, President Trump's more in the Bobby Knight School, and I will tell you, Bobby Knight won 3 national championships. Dean Smith only won 2, so working the refs seems to be effective.
So there may be some chair
resigned
throwing.
in disgrace.
So what you're saying, there might be some chair throwing if we're going with the Bobby Knight School of how this is done.
Think about this. There are good candidates already on the Fed board who for Fed chair, and they make their opinions known at every meeting. So I don't find that disruptive at all.
Okay.
What?
Mr. Secretary, great to have you with us. Thank you so much for the time.
Oh, my God. No, he doesn't. He doesn't watch basketball. He goes in and he puts himself in his casket at night and his preservation. He suspends himself in formaldehyde every night. Yeah. We ran into his husband, Scott, when we were in Charleston last month. They live in a historical house downtown. Who's that? EU has tariffs already approved for July 14th implementation if no change in the U.S. tariff discussion. Well, there you go. Thanks, Lee. There you go. Scott Benson eats babies for a hobby. That's his hobby. Dump was going after Bricks with tariff threats. Yeah, and Bricks was meeting, right? But I don't think what's his name was there. Because it was in Brazil. They met in Brazil. But I don't think Putin was there. I don't know. Bobby Knight. I think didn't Bobby Knight have to resign in disgrace? Oh, Jim is his husband. Wait, what? Scott Besant is married, is in a gay relationship, really? I mean, that might be the best thing about him is that he but does he realize who he works for? I don't know. Is his name also Scott? Are there two? What if you married a person with the same name? That's really hard. What would you do? I guess you're calling each other like darling and sweetie and stuff like that. Oh, you meant John. They have 2 kids. Wait, oh, his name's John. Okay. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Well, that actually makes me like him a little more than I do. But I don't really like him because I don't like his politics. Yes, Knight was forced to resign from Indiana U under a cloud. That's right, because he's a fucking dick. Oh my god. I did find that 500,000 jobs. Here's the thing, I was looking at it, and apparently that 500,000 manufacturing jobs being open has been in place for decades. That kind of gap. And they said something, I was reading a report from 2021 just now, and it basically was like the analysis was that it was a skill issue, that they didn't have the workers didn't have skills. So that was the issue where this 500,000, the skills gap was part of the issue. A shared talent pool, entry level jobs are sitting vacant despite the fact that these jobs pay. The challenge here is that the warehouse and distribution industry, which offers comparable wages and flexible shifts, is fishing from the same talent pool and hiring away more workers. And also different career people aren't just going into those industries. So that's interesting. Yeah, that's from 2021. Maybe one or another immutable characteristic does not reflect a person's moral or otherwise value. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. Maybe people aren't monoliths. Maybe that's what it is. People are not monoliths, as I remind myself frequently. But I appreciate that. I appreciate that he is living in that relationship and able to live openly and have that part of his life. So good for him. Now, if he could just not be a fucking whoever the financier of the Nazi regime was. I don't know who the financier was. Do we know that? I often catch them not charging the point of purchase price in my look. Really? Oh my gosh. I didn't know that. That still happens? That's weird. In a smaller area, that's kind of weird. Like it says BOGO in the shelf, but it doesn't ring up that way. I hate that. Oh. You got to be on top of that stuff. That would never happen with Jen. Well, here in the real world, when we go grocery shopping, yes, groceries, a lot of us see our goods slowly. I do, Meowing Star. I definitely do. Our food is going up. That's it. That's it. It's happening. Mrs. Beasley is the highest ranking U.S. official in history. I knew that, but does suck. So that, yeah, exactly. It's like, but again, here we go. Here's the lesson. The lesson for today is, kids, nobody is a monolith. So there you go. All right. Well, that was Beasley Besant, and I wanted to show you him kind of like backtracking on shit. Let's see. I've got something else. Oh, that's my thing. Okay. I think I had something. Oh yeah, I want to read this. Trump withholds. Bogoff. Bogoff or bug off. Baka, baka. Makes me think of all kinds of things. Trump withholds nearly $7 billion from schools. Yeah. The dude is gay and working for this administration. Personally, I think he's the worst part of the. Well, I mean, no, I wouldn't say. Again, we can't equate, buy one, get one. Today is Monday, right? It sure is, Josh, all day, unfortunately. It's a Monday. Buy one, get one. You were ranting at Besant. Yeah, exactly. He's worthy of the rant. Uh-oh, a new stupid thing. Real America's voice. Real America's voice. Real America. The real American voice. Yeah. Brazil's doing a terrible thing. Oh God. Brazil. What is he mad about? He's mad about Bolsonaro. Okay. I've watched as the world and they've done nothing but come after him day after day. Bolsonaro just had a big rally for himself because his trial is starting. His trial is starting. So that's why this Bolsonaro post. What does he say? I have got. Wait, no, we can do
this. We can do this. Brazil is doing a terrible thing on their treatment of former President Jair Bolsonaro. I have watched, as has the world, as they have done nothing but come after him day after day, night after night, month after month, year after year. He is not guilty of anything but having fought for the people. I have gotten to know Jair Bolsonaro, and he was a strong leader who truly loved his country. Also, a very tough negotiator on trade. His election was very close, and now he's leading in the polls. Hello. This is nothing more or less than an attack on a political opponent. I know something I know much about it. It happened to me times 10. And now our country is the hottest in the world. The great people of Brazil will not stand for what they are doing to their former president. I'll be watching the witch hunt of Jair Bolsonaro, his family, and thousands of his supporters very closely. The only trial that should be happening is a trial by the voters of Brazil. It's called an election. Leave Bolsonaro alone. He's my buddy. He's my buddy.
Oh yeah, that's not the one that I wanted to do. I wanted to do this one. Ted Cruz is speaking at the flood presser. Oh God. Oh God. Brazil. La, 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 la.
In the first few hours of this flood, I was on the phone with Governor Abbott. I was on the phone with Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
Oh, I was really on it.
Nim Kidd, the head of the Texas Department of Emergency Management.
He's in a schmedium.
And then I called President Trump. He was having dinner at the time. It was still early in what was transpiring. And I wanted him to know, I said, Mr. President, everything we're hearing right now, this appears to be bad, really bad.
God, I'm sorry.
There may be
I'm not laughing at this subject matter. I'm laughing at his ridiculous
And I will tell you,
acting.
The president said, Ted, anything Texas needs, the answer is yes.
What? When did he call him?
Whatever assets you need, whatever resources you need, yes, let us know, and we will provide everything. Within hours, we had helicopters, over a dozen helicopters in the air. National Guard, DPS, game wardens, Coast Guard, doing search and rescue, reaching down. We've all seen the videos of little girls being pulled up, hoisted out of harm's way. Incredible courage and heroism.
He's such a bad actor.
Search and rescue is the first stage, but the process of coming together and rebuilding is going to take longer. And I will say to all the grieving families, to all of those who've gotten the worst news imaginable, that your little girl, she's gone. I will say for many of us, those are friends and neighbors who've lost children.
Okay.
Got multiple kids who go to school with my girls.
What's he talking about? Wait, what? Multiple kids that are missing go to school with your girls? Really?
The mayor asked for prayers. And I want to say thank you to the millions of Texans, to the millions of Americans, to the millions of people all over the world right now who are praying for Texas and praying for those parents.
Wait, what did you say? Who's the we you're talking?
Going through this grief, it is going to take love. It is going to take friends and family embracing and hugging and holding them while they weep. And it's going to take the church. With every disaster, one of the things we see here in Texas is the church steps up and the church helps and the church feeds and clothes and comforts. This morning I met with a group of chaplains who've been going through the incredibly difficult process of talking to mom and dad after mom and dad who just lost the most precious person they ever knew. And those chaplains are just trying to love them and show God's love. So I want to say we will come through this. To those in the midst of grief right now, that might seem hard to fathom. But Texas will come through this. And I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to these.
I wouldn't want to hear that as a parent.
They are not sleeping. They are working every day. Thank you to the families. Thank you to the Salvation Army. Thank you to everyone who is just reaching out and saying, how can I help? We will come through this, and we'll come through this together. Thank you. And now we'll take questions.
Senator, you talked about how you know kids here and you've taken your own kids to camp. Was it ever communicated to you that there was
shit
a warning system so people had a chance to escape something like this?
Well, listen, I think anytime you're dealing with major rivers, there's a risk of flooding. And there's
really, Ted? So we put kids in camps there?
I will say, in the wake of every tragedy, there are things that are predictable. One of the things that's predictable is that you see some people engaging in, I think, partisan games.
Oh, shut your fucking mouth and answer the fucking question. Was there a warning system or not?
Disaster. And you see that with a hurricane, with a tornado.
Answer
with a
the fucking
wildfire,
question,
with
Ted.
Flooding, where people immediately say, well, the hurricane is Donald Trump's fault.
No, we're not, okay? He asked you a question.
Know that's ridiculous, and I think this is not a time for partisan.
He's asking you a question about the warning system.
After we come through search and rescue, after we come through the process of rebuilding, there will naturally be a period of retrospection.
Yeah, Kennedy was going to be there, even though he doesn't live in Texas.
What exactly transpired? What was the timeline? And what could have been done differently to prevent this loss of life? And that's a natural process. I think it should not happen in a bitter and partisan sense. But
it's not. You're the one making it bitter and partisan.
What lessons can we learn?
Why are you so sensitive?
Houston's my hometown. If you live on the Gulf Coast,
it's not your hometown.
You get hurricanes. That's part of living on the Gulf Coast. Hurricanes hit. And I do think Texas as a whole has learned over time how to deal more effectively with hurricanes.
Really?
And so you look here, we know the National Weather Service put out
have you been to Houston,
emergency
Ted?
warning just after 1 a.m. and a second
Have you been to Galveston?
Warning just after 4 a.m. Now, obviously, most people at 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. are asleep. And so I think we will have a reasonable conversation about, are there any ways?
Listen, did you guys see the footage of the girls from the camp in question walking through ankle-deep water? Did you see that video? Because I did. So I think we knew during the night that this was going to be an issue. And is it that nobody was watching? Yeah, he's from Canada.
To have earlier detection. And some of that, the limits of a flash flood,
I did.
They're very difficult because they can arise so quickly.
But don't you think once the girls are in ankle-deep water, it's time to go?
If we could go back and do it again, we would evacuate particularly those in the most vulnerable areas, the young children in the cabins closest to the water. We would remove them and get them to higher ground if we could go back and do it again. Obviously, everyone would. The people in RVs by the river's edge. We know in disasters like this, RVs and mobile homes are particularly susceptible, whether a flood or a hurricane or a tornado, they're particularly susceptible to that. And so my hope is, in time, we will learn some lessons to implement to next time, and there will be another flood, there will be another disaster. But next time there's a flood, I hope we have in place processes to remove especially the most vulnerable from harm's way. But I think that's going to be a process that will take a careful examination of what happened and how can we implement processes better in the future to prevent this same loss of life.
Senator, there were claims that the National Weather Service sent that first flash flood warning that should have alerted phones at 1:14 in the morning But we have a federal public database maintained by PBS Warren, that says the first emergency alert wirelessly here in this area to Kerr County was not until after 9 a.m. That was more than 4 hours after the severe flooding had come to this area. Did you know that? Have you seen that? And what's your response, knowing the state and cuts to the NWS in recent months by this administration?
So I don't know the source for what you're saying. All of the public reporting I've seen is that there were 2 alerts that went out, one just after 1 a.m., one after 4 a.m.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You know, I can tell you, I talked about the partisan finger pointing. I think there have been some eager to
That's what
point
you're
at
doing
the
right
National
now.
Weather Service and say cuts there led to a lack of warning.
Well, did they or did they not?
I think that's contradicted by the facts. And if you look at the facts
Okay.
in particular,
What
number
are the
one, that
facts?
these warnings went out hours before the flood became
can we prove
a
that?
true
I mean,
emergency level.
not
But
that I
number
don't trust
two,
this government.
The National Weather Service
I
here,
don't trust this government.
New Braunfels is where they were headquartered. They had additional manpower. In fact, they had 3 additional people working that night, anticipating that it was going to be a very dangerous weather situation. I also think it's worth noting that the National Weather Service Union, which has been very critical of the DOGE cuts,
Jim.
has publicly said that they don't believe that the reduction in staffing had any impact whatsoever on their ability to warn of this event. And so, look, I
Was
think
that Big
it
Balls
is
that said
reasonable
that?
over time to engage in a retrospective and say at every
Yeah,
level
no,
what
absolutely.
could have been done better.
But
because
are you
all of
going
us
to? Are you going to? Are you going to?
would want to prevent this horrific loss of life. But I think
Yeah, okay. That's pretty easy to say.
just immediately
That's
trying
low-hanging
to use
fruit,
it for either
Ted.
side to attack their political opponents, I think that's cynical and not the right approach, particularly at a time when we're dealing with a crisis and we're dealing with grief.
But does this make you question whether there should be cuts at the National Weather Service and FEMA? I know you've been supportive of FEMA.
Look, I am very supportive of FEMA. I'm very supportive of the National Weather Service. They both perform essential roles, and I think it is
But I'll
critical
still
in every
cut them.
federal agency, particularly when you're dealing with public safety, that we make
he
sure
wants
that
to cut 'em,
critical
I'll
roles
cut 'em.
are maintained. That's a longer and broader discussion, but as I said, everything from the public evidence indicates that was not a contributing
What's the public
factor to what
evidence?
occurred here.
I want to get Dalton in just to talk about that and the National Weather Service.
Yeah, let's have the actual national. Oh, this guy. This guy's an idiot. I'm sorry. This is the mayor.
Weather Service. What did the emergency managers of the county and other local officials do with that information starting at 1:15 and onward, where you had the dire river forecast at 6:30? Were emergency managers doing anything to put any processes in place to warn people on the river?
So overall, we were preparing for the July 4th, weekend. So we had National EMR on site. We were, basically stood up kind of a incident command post, if you will, to prepare for that event. So everybody was kind of up looking at weather. We looked at the weather before. When you looked at the National Weather Service, flood map, it spanned all the way from the west side of Texas, with Kerr County kind of being in that upper northeast corner of it. And so everybody, including the National Weather Service, was looking at where's the rain going to hit. We know it's somewhere in here, but with rain, especially when you're dealing with terrain, you got to figure out. Sometimes you don't know until it falls. So once it starts falling, then you got to figure out, okay, how's the watershed going to do this? How's the science going to work? And when you had that north and south fork that we had talked about before, it all converged into one. We do know that a lot of the camps were looking at this just as much as as everybody was.
Really? Were they?
With the rainfall percentages, even the National Weather Service had looked at, and don't quote me on the numbers, but it was anywhere between 1 to 7 inches. We got significantly over that.
Yeah.
And again,
Why
when it goes
isn't
into
he
very
out there?
congregated areas and how that watershed shifts into
Why is he showing up on Monday?
to the rivers,
I guess he had a long
that
weekend.
impacts things. And so
July
the
4th.
camps, obviously, we've heard stories where campers were getting up. They were up at 3:30 in the morning. They were trying to move to higher ground. That's the
What?
And the other
You heard what?
interesting part of the terrain, and we've talked to UGRA folks as well. This is the headwaters of the Guadalupe. This is the beginning. This is where everything forms when it comes into the North and South Fork. And so as those things develop, it develops very rapidly, very quickly, and this rose very quickly in a very short amount of time. And so those campers that were able to do that, it worked. There's been the other question, and I'll just give this one out. Evacuations. Well, why don't we evacuate? Well, evacuation is a delicate balance. because if you evacuate too late, you then risk putting buses, or cars or vehicles or campers on roads into low water areas trying to get them out, which then can make it even more challenging because these flash floods happen very quickly. That's what.
And so we saw that in 1987, but was there any discussion about evacuation earlier when it wasn't too late? Was there any discussion about that among the officials?
Sorry, repeat your question.
Was there any? Yeah.
Was there any discussion to evacuate or activate any emergency plans before it was too late?
Yeah.
Well, so again, just like disasters in Texas everywhere, it's very tough to make those calls because what we also don't want to do is cry wolf. We don't want to make sure that
Let me tell you about crying wolf.
Activate it at the right time. It is very difficult, very challenging.
You guys fucked up,
especially with this. We're looking at 100 kilometers, right?
I don't care.
Big straight line distance. That's not
That's
even
your fucking job.
These areas
you have
take
one
a lot
fucking
of time
job
to get out to. So even when first responders
but there's
were on
campers
the
there
ground at 3:30 in the morning, and we had reports. We had first responders that were getting swept away, actually responding to the first areas of rainfall. That's how quick it happened. First responders who have experience, who are Swiftwater qualified, were driving to as soon as the rain started falling, were driving to these areas, and one of them got swept off the road.
Well then, what? Oh, they want to cut it off.
That I don't know off the top of my head. What I do know, though, is there's 55,000.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Kirk County is a massive area. From here to those camps is 45 minutes on a good day. And so, obviously one of the big challenges that we have, even when you have cell service, a lot of those areas don't even have cell service.
Duck Dynasty has got
radio
this.
communications towers, radio towers within the hill country becomes very challenging.
Really?
So
well, then maybe we shouldn't have kids there.
When weather comes in, where cellular towers are down, or you already have bad service. So there's a lot of factors that play and a lot of variables in there on communication that, again, I think as we work through this process, we know everybody has a lot of questions regarding what are the next steps and what's next. And I think all of these things, these are all great questions. And as we continue search and rescue and as we continue to move to the next step, we definitely want to dive in and look at all of those things, from cell service tower to radio communications, or emergency alerting. Any of those things, I think we all really need to take a look at and review. And we're looking forward to doing that once we can get the search and rescue and stuff complete.
In regards to the total number, before I say anything else, I just want to say thank you to you, all the first responders, everyone involved. We've been praying.
Thank you.
We've been praying. The media's been praying. Thank you guys for doing that. I've got two questions. One for you. Try to get an accurate count on number of missing. I know you can't. I know we don't know we don't know what we don't know.
Yes.
But do we know a rough idea on total estimates that are still missing overall throughout the county? And then one other follow-up. This may be for Senator Cruz. A lot of speculations being made about this being somehow man involved with the weather modification, with some of the rainmaker technology, working with farmland.
Conspiracy.
Any of that? Is there going to be any investigations into that, or can you communicate anything on that?
Let me answer your first
Texas
question. I'm
changed
definitely
the
turning
weather.
that second one over to him. So on the first question, with missing persons, so obviously we have the knowns, the can't miss it kids, which is the numbers coming down as the sheriff has stated, and then we have the unknowns. Well, we don't know what we don't know. We actually have a 5 hotline line. It fluctuates between 3 and 5, but we're working on it. We get calls 24 hours, 7 days a week. We haven't hit the weeks yet, but we're still taking in calls. We are collecting all that information. So we don't have a solid number that we're willing to talk about right now. We do know that it is a lot, because we also are getting a lot of fake calls.
Wait, what?
You're looking. This is a worldwide discussion, and we're dealing with scammers. Victims' families are being reached out to, saying that they have their kids pay me money. It's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking.
Oh my God.
We're dealing with with mental health issues where people are calling saying they have visions. All of these things we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and we're having to vet this information, and it becomes very taxing on our people.
Why don't they have
again,
federal
this is an
support
extremely
to do the
heartbreaking,
investigations?
this is, if not the worst, one of the worst, disasters in this region in a very, very long time, even beyond 1987. And so,
then don't you think you need
so
some federal law enforcement help to just ferret out all this silly stuff?
a lot. So,
what is a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not to get into the weeds on, people are asking lots of questions, and where should we start the investigation at?
To the best of my knowledge, there is zero evidence of anything related to anything like weather modification. Yeah. And look, the internet can be a strange place. People can come up with all sorts of crazy theories. What I know is a reality is that a whole lot of Texans are grieving right now. I will tell you, I was visiting with one parent who was talking about online, being harassed online because their information was public that they had a little girl who was missing at Mystic. And look, there are a lot of people who are messed up, and my call for everyone, there's a time to have political fights, there's a time to disagree. This is not that time. Yeah. This is the time just to
I only fight when I think
reach
it's
out,
important.
support each other.
Now I want to
go volunteer at the Salvation Army. Give them money. Go volunteer at your church. Go. You know what? What I did when this happened? Just go hug your kids. Because I got to tell you, I hugged my girls with tears in my eyes. Because every one of us who's a parent, there, but for the grace of God, go I. And nothing will fill the void in these moms and dads' hearts. But they'll make it through it.
What?
And every one of us, we have an obligation to come through and help them make it through it. And look, Texas will come through. And let me say, Kirk County, the Hill Country is incredible. It is beautiful. And these summer camps, Camp Mystic is an incredible Texas institution. For a century, it has made a profound difference helping young girls become strong women in Texas and across the country. And so, for me at least, I'm praying for these camps. I'm praying for all the campers, everyone implicated, everyone impacted. And I hope we come together and stand as one doing that.
I think they push him away. We have that video evidence of them pushing him away. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Ted. Let me show you. This is from KSAT, which is a San Antonio TV station. So this is what I saw that night, or not that night, but at least very quickly after we'd need. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd need an excuse to hug my child. I hug my child every day. All right, 6-week camp. Oh, okay. Here we go. The video of floods is AI. I'm sure they're. Oh yeah, no, they know it's terrible.
We want you to take a look at that. You see that photo that you see right there? It was sent to us from a KSAT viewer. It shows campers forced to wade through ankle-deep water just west of Kerrville over at Camp Mystic. That's an all-girls camp. You've heard us talk a lot about Camp Mystic throughout the day. Even the lieutenant governor referencing that particular camp because it can hold up to 750 campers. We know that about 6 to 10 inches of rain fell last night into this morning along in the Kerrville area. And early on, the parents of those girls were understandably concerned about where their daughters were. And according to an email that was obtained by KSAT, some of those girls were unaccounted for, and their parents, the parents of those children who were unaccounted for, have been notified, but as of yet, we haven't yet found out whether or not they've been located. We also don't know exactly how many people are unaccounted for. We don't know how many people are missing. The email that I referenced a moment ago that was sent to the parents who have children in Camp Mystic stated that the highway in that area where Camp Mystic is was just washed by floodwaters. Now, waiting to be reunified with her mother is the daughter of the mother of Eloise Peck.
She sent us a photo of Eloise and her friend, Lila Bonner. The girls were at Camp Mystic at this hour. Still no word on their whereabouts. If you have any information or questions about friends and family that may be missing, you can call the Red Cross. That number is here on your screen. It is 1-800-733-2767. Again, any information, any questions you may have, the Red Cross is helping in this process to help find people missing after this devastating flood. That number is right there on your screen. Those were just 2 of the 23 reported missing girls. We heard the lieutenant governor say 20-something from Camp Mystic. We should point out that there are several camps in this area.
Okay. So that was from, when was that? That was 2 days ago. That was Saturday. I believe I saw this video on Saturday. So it was Saturday morning. I guess we're to assume the child everyone's concerned about is the white girl. I don't know. I don't know. This morning I read there were 2 camper sisters found holding hands but drowned. Oh God. Didn't we hear that some 2 children were found alive? I don't know if I really heard that or not. Maybe I just hoped it. Max, MTG even has a bill she's put in to use the ban. Oh my God, her and her weather modification. Insanity. Insanity. Well, I guess the theme today is cover up. The theme today is make excuses. Ted's making excuses for whatever might or might not have happened. It's not time to look at that right now. It's not time to look at that right now. Does that mean population control chemtrails would still be okay? I don't know. How do we get rid of those? The girl to the left or the right? Oh, their names were at the bottom. Maybe you didn't see that, Neil. The names of the girls were at the bottom. But you're right. It did just kind of. I mean, I think that's always an issue of how much coverage do things get depending on the characteristics of who has been lost. Oh yeah, no problem. It's because I have all this shit on the screen. That's why you can't see it. So it's no problem. But it still happens. There is an emphasis on the that's been well documented. There's always an emphasis on loss of life if it is white versus losses in other communities. So you're not wrong that this would be something that would happen in this case as well. There's so much, there's so much in this world that is just so incredibly frustrating. Yeah. All right. Trump withholds $7 billion for schools. Oh, and by the way, while we're dealing with the disasters of this world and the incredible sadness and loss, we also have these nefarious things happening behind the scenes, but not really behind the scenes, but here we are. The money which was allocated by Congress helps pay for after-school programs, support for students learning English and other services. So this is Title I. That's Title I funding, I believe. I mean, I'll see if they expressly say that, but I'm going to tell you right now, you provide services and then you get paid. That's the way it works. So people have already provided services and that money should have been paid to them. This is wrong. This is stealing. This is stealing. I would have been in a helicopter. I don't even know. I don't even know what I would do. My heart is broken for those parents. My heart is just broken. The Trump administration has declined to release nearly $7 billion in federal funding that helps pay for after-school and summer programs, support for students learning English, teacher training, and other services. I would have had to shut my program down and fire my teachers if I had money cut off like this. The money was expected to be released by Tuesday, but in an email on Monday, the Education Department notified state education agencies that the money would not be available. This was last Monday. The administration offered little explanation, saying only that the funds were under review. It gave no timeline for when or if the money would be released, saying instead that it was committed to ensuring taxpayer resources are spent in accordance with the president's priorities. This is wrong. This is so wrong. This is so wrong. The frozen funds are unrelated to millions of dollars in cuts included in the domestic policy bill that squeaked through the Senate on Tuesday, which of course was then passed. It's catastrophic, said Jody Grant, executive director of the After School Alliance, a group that works to expand after-school services for students. She estimated that federal dollars for after-school and summer programs, about $1.3 billion annually, support 1.4 million students, mostly lower income, representing about 20% of all students in after-school programs nationally. The move is likely to be challenged in court and has already been criticized as illegal by Democrats and teachers' unions, who emphasized that the money had been appropriated by Congress and was approved by President Trump in March as part of a broader funding bill. This is lawless, said Randy Weingarten, who I don't really like, but it's okay. President of the American Federation of Teachers. I just don't like her as a person. The administration has taken an aggressive approach to cutting back the federal government's role in education, including plans to eliminate the education department entirely. Though only Congress can abolish the department, the Trump administration has taken an axe to education staffing and funding more broadly as it seeks to whittle down the department. The administration has suggested that it may seek to eliminate the nearly $7 billion in frozen funding. Russell, vote. Russell, vote. The director of the White House Office of Management and Budget said during the Senate Appropriations Committee hearing last week, which we watched, that the administration was considering ways to claw back the funding through a process known as rescissions. The administration would formally ask lawmakers to claw back a set of funds it is targeted for cuts, even if Congress fails to vote on that request. The president's timing would trigger a law that freezes the money until it ultimately expires. Yeah. No decision has been made, Mr. Vogt said. Yeah, sure. The withholding of dollars on Tuesday threw the school district budgets into uncertainty, with only weeks to go before the start of school in many parts of the country. This is bad. This is bad. Heidi Sipe, the superintendent in Umatilla, Oregon, a low-income rural district, said her district's after-school program has traditionally gone until 4:45 or 5:30 p.m. and was fully funded through federal dollars. She recently sent a note to parents urging them to make backup plans, though few exist in her community, where she said there is no YMCA or similar alternatives. In Omaha, Nicole Everingham, who helps manage after-school funding for programs at 42 public schools, said a loss of funding would force her group to consolidate the number of schools that can offer after-school care. This happens. And also mean fewer slots for students because of staffing reductions. That's right. That's right. Yeah, the contracts would have been signed by now for the next school year. Yeah. Oh, well. See, the thing is about this administration is they just break the law and then they wait for the courts to catch up, which of course the courts can't catch up. And when they do ultimately catch up, it goes to the Supreme Court, which then upholds whatever the president wants to do. I don't know what they call this when all three branches of government have been compromised, but that's where we are right now. I think that's a constitutional crisis, but I'm not entirely sure. When an administration does one illegal act after another and the courts can't keep up with it, what happens? Is it capture? Oh. It completely puts us in flux, said Ms. Everingham, the development director for Collective for Youth, which helps coordinate after-school programming for about half of Omaha public schools. Even if the money comes through after a delay, she said, it could disrupt the ability to hire staff by the start of school in mid-August, creating chaos for working parents who depend on after-school programs. That's right. I just want to know how many of you maggots out there, if you're listening, which you probably aren't, but if you were, how many of you take advantage of after-school programming at your public school? Because that's what they're attacking. And they're attacking, as part of this grant money, it looks like, they're attacking English as a second language, ESL or whatever you want to call it. Multilingual services is what we called it. But, that's also what you're not helping people learn English. You're not, oh, they homeschool. Bullshit. Oh, their kids help make them a ketamine something. Kratom. What is that? Kratom? What do they do? They chew leaves or I don't even know what. Okay. Many school districts also rely on federal dollars. Oh my God. I must have written this article to help non-English speaking students and families, including training teachers and hiring translators and actually helping translators sit with kids and help them understand. They help them during testing. Like this is a big thing. Okay. And schools have more and more students who need support with English speaking and comprehension. And don't they all want people to speak English anyway? I mean, that you would think that this would be like one of their favorite programs because they want everybody to speak English. Without this outreach, families who do not speak English could be cut off from schools and the support system that they need, said Anna DeGenna, the school district superintendent in Oxnard, California. Several of the federally funded programs that have been in place for decades. The 21st Century Community Learning Centers, which support before and after school programs, were created in 1994 by federal legislation and expanded 6 years later with the passage of the No Child Left Behind Act, which was dumb. Both measures, the first passed during a Democratic administration and second under Republican, were approved by broad bipartisan majorities. One of the newest programs, known as Student Support and Academic Enrichment Programs, ingest often as tea, often as capsules. What are we talking about? Chew Badal. And caught. Okay, got you. Ingest. Thank you. Better word. The law authorized those grants received broad bipartisan support, including from Representative Tim Walberg of Michigan and Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, both Republicans who are now chairman of the Education Committee in respective chambers. But criticism about cutting funding for these programs has largely been limited to Democrats. I don't know about. Yeah, I think I heard that, and it could be unreliable. There's a public school hearing here at the Capitol on the 16th. Ooh, Jen. I should go. That'd be fun. Ooh, I should come up. Oh, it's the 16th of July. I won't be able to. Every day that this funding is held up is a day that school districts are forced to worry about whether they'll have to cut back on after-school programs or lay teachers off instead of worrying about how to make sure our kids can succeed. Senator Patty Murray, said in a statement. Yeah, so there's shit happening. There's shit happening in education too. And see, these are the nefarious things to me, because they're doing all these really violent, horrible things kind of in the front. And then they're also doing deeply nefarious, dangerous things in the back. You know what I mean? There's no relief. There's no relief. Yeah. Rapture faster. Yeah. Hey man. I'm down with that. Okay, I think actually I'm gonna go ahead and end for today, even though I've got a couple things, and I still want to talk about the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. God damn it, I really need to talk about that. Maybe we'll have time this week, because I don't think they have a lot of hearings scheduled this week, so maybe we'll have time to read about it tomorrow. But I also don't want to keep people really long today. We will be having, even though I'm not posting on X anymore, so I'm not posting anything new. All my posts are on Blue Sky. Blue Sky, Blue Sky, Blue Sky for now, until we find the next thing that isn't Blue Sky. You know what I mean? So I'm on Blue Sky, YouTube, but I'm not going to be posting anything new on Twitter. Now, I will, because people asked, continue to have the space tonight on Twitter. So that's the compromise at this moment. You've enjoyed I wanted to try some of that stuff. Yeah, I am. I'm feeling a little better. This weekend I had a big anxiety attack on Saturday, and it was just I was not in a good space, but got through it. And thanks for watching movies with me on Saturday night, you guys. I really appreciate it. I love that. I know you guys are like, whatever, these movies. But I'm really, it makes me so happy when we all watch movies together. It's so weird that I like that. But anyway, yeah, someday. So yeah, what was I going to say? Oh, let's get back to our fireplace or our fire. And well, thank you so much. Thank you. And yeah. So tomorrow, same thing. Tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific. Okay, we moved it. 6 p.m. Pacific. I love you too, Teresa. I love all you guys. Thank you so much. 6 p.m. Pacific tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern on The Bad Place. Tomorrow morning. Oh, actually, wait. I got a programming note. I'm so sorry. I got a programming note. I know. I love those movies too. Okay. So I have a program. We'll have no comments from you. Good. Excellent. I appreciate it. I mean, I'm just surprised even some of you guys are coming over to X to listen. Are you kidding me? I look down and I'm like, oh, that's so nice. So thanks for doing that. But you don't, obviously, I know people have really strong feelings about X. So I'm not offended ever if you guys are like, fuck X. Fascist party in the front, fascist party in the back. That's right. Oh, I appreciate you too, Scott. Thank you. Maybe I'll post non sequitur. Oh yeah, there you go. Do that. That'd be good, actually. I'd like that. I think it'd be better. I love non sequiturs. Some of my favorite things are non sequitur. Boop, boop. Yeah, I call it a coup, but I'm ahead of the times. Yeah, exactly. I hate all social medias. Me too, Jane. Fuck all social media. Fuck this whole thing. I'm telling you, it gives people permission to act their worst possible self. And sometimes I do too. Anyway, have a great rest of your Monday, if you can. And hopefully I'll hear you tonight, or I'll see your icon. And then tomorrow morning. Oh, wait, the programming note. I forgot. Oh, fuck, man. Okay, I have to drive Bobo somewhere in the morning. So I'm not going to be able to do a wake and bake tomorrow. Space tonight. Yes, Teresa. But I cannot do a wake and bake tomorrow. I forgot because I got to drive Bobo somewhere for her job. And let's see. So I'll have to play it by ear. Actually, I might stream from where I am tomorrow if I hang out where she's going to be, if that makes sense. Because I might drive her there and then hang out, or I might come home. But anyway, the bottom line is something might happen tomorrow morning, but I don't know what time, and it won't be the regular. So I'm sorry. That's terrible. And then also tomorrow night, we will have a documentary. I don't think we've chosen a documentary yet, but we will be having a documentary tomorrow night at 6 o'clock Pacific on Discord. So join the Discord. It's in my link. Link's in bio. Team assemble. Fascist in the streets and the sheets. Whoop, 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 whoop. Good one. All right. Okay. Adore you guys. Have a great day. I will see you later. And that's it. Okay. I'll definitely be back Wednesday morning, but I'll probably do something from where I am tomorrow because it might be really cool. You never know. Okay. Yeah.